Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Hot and Sparky Live with my co-host Ian. And today, go ahead and say hello, Ian. How rude of me.
What's up, guys? How's it going?
And we got a special guest today, Jack, with a voice of a freaking warrior or angel. Say what's up, Jack.
Hey, thank you.
Hell yeah.
Appreciate that.
So, welcome to the podcast, my guy. I gotta say, I don't know what it is, what they're putting in the food nowadays or what's going on, dude. But go ahead and tell everybody how old you are, because everyone's gonna probably think you're like fucking 35 or some shit.
Oh, I'm 16.
Damn. It's got a deeper voice than I got, dude. What the hell?
Yeah, no doubt.
Maybe it's because my balls never dropped.
Not that far, at least.
So, being that you're younger, right? And
Yeah.
I wanted to get a little input on everything that's going on right now, like a view from a younger age, a younger perspective, I guess. What do you think about all this crazy shit going on? The Roni, quarantine, all
You know, I don't know. It's weird because 2 week breaks and everything, being in school still, been used to gaming a lot. And then lately, I just got a job like 8 months ago for the first time. And I've been doing a lot of work lately and a lot of staying at home. It's definitely different from going outside and actually seeing everyone that you're used to seeing. Now it's online classes at school. It's a big change.
where are you working at now?
I work at Round Table.
Okay,
Right on.
typical pizza joint. How do you like
Yep.
that?
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty
Yeah.
nice work
Oh,
environment.
yeah. Right on.
What is it about pizza joints? Like all the young kids go to pizza joints. Was there like a special thing, like you're like, or somebody just said, come here and work? We're like, what's up with that?
I think it's just an easy like first job, easy grab.
Okay.
It's pretty
Yeah,
easy
I
to
can see
get
that.
in there. It's good, minimum wage. Nothing more expected from, a pizza
Mm.
place. But it's just a first good job, good first experience, learn responsibility, learn how to work and everything. Yeah.
That's
Well,
dope.
good for you for having that attitude, for sure.
Yeah, dude, that's hard to find, and not
Yeah.
even just like in young people, but even like some older people, dude. You'd be surprised. You'd think people act like
Yeah.
adults, but oh man, it's like they never left high school. But
Without a doubt.
are you like helping around the house and stuff with bills or anything like that, or what your parents asking you or not asking you? What's going on with that?
They're pretty laid back of what I do with my money. They don't really control me because they know I'll like be smart about it. I'll be responsible and everything. I'm not gonna be done spending on a bunch of food every day. I just keep it secure. Make sure I don't waste it on just stupid things. I
That's
do a
pretty
lot
good.
of stuff for
Yeah,
my
that's really good.
hobbies.
That's pretty good.
So that's where most of my money goes.
I don't like to think that I was spoiled or anything. I never really asked for much, but maybe that's because growing up, I kind of understood. Like parents got to pay this, do that, like whatever, right? So I kind of understood maybe not to ask for too much shit. But the one time I did, I was 16, right, and I said, I want a cell phone for my birthday, and so my parents
Okay.
kind of gave me this look like, oh, okay. And my birthday come around, they gave me a cell phone. I was like, dope, right? Like, hell yeah. And this is cool, right? And then with it, they gave me the fucking bill. I was like,
Oh,
oh.
that's
I was like, oh, what's this? And they're like, oh, that's the bill. And I go, yeah. It's like, well, you got to pay for that. You wanted a cell phone, right? And I was like, oh, okay. Well, how am I supposed to pay for that? I don't have a job. They're like, oh, you're going to go work with your dad. I was like, oh, all right.
Catch 22, right?
Right.
introduction.
But I kind of at that time I wasn't like fuck this, right? Now do I want it now, right? I was just like, okay, you do what you got to do, and I'm kind of grateful for that because it really did prove a point. Like shit isn't just free, even at a young age you got to understand that you got to get that shit from somehow, somewhere, right?
Oh, yeah.
Gotcha.
So that's kind of cool, that they're pretty cool about you working and you taking care of your own shit. That's pretty dope.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
pretty lucky actually. I got my first phone when I was 12 or so I got pretty lucky with that. I didn't really have to pay
Yeah.
anything. I just,
Yeah, times have
you
changed.
know, yeah, times have changed. I wasn't really held responsible, and easy access to a phone at 12 years old. So
I
that
kind of
that was nice for me.
yeah.
You know.
It kind of seems like a necessity nowadays. I don't know. Like I mean, I had a cell phone when I was younger, but it was very basic. Before 16. But we lived in LA, so it was kind of one of those things where I started walking home from school, and
Yeah.
they were like, we kind of need to know if he gets in any kind of trouble or some shit. Just be able to call us. But again, this when you turn 16, it is a little different. Now you're like you're
Yeah.
asking for other reasons.
Yeah, most definitely.
So
That's pretty scurrilous for me too. Like I think I was already working when I wanted a phone, but the same thing happened. You get past the bill. You know what I mean? I've been working since I was legal too.
I was working a little bit before that, but
Yeah.
you
So
know,
yeah. See, I didn't have any
Yeah.
family. Like my family didn't have
Yeah.
like a family business or trade that they do. So,
right.
but that's
Yeah,
awesome.
I always wish I got to, like, my dad used to be a construction worker. He didn't own the business at all, and it
Right.
wasn't a private owned business. It was a big, semi big company. And I just wish, like, maybe 14, 15, I was able to get a job with him,
Mm-hmm.
but it sucks that just wasn't possible. So
Yeah.
I had to wait, and people don't really hire at 15 years old and everything.
Yeah, it's not too
No,
common.
most of the regulations, especially in construction or manufacturing, you have to be at least
Yeah.
18.
I think
Well,
I
yeah, but
was.
like a wide variety of jobs. Like at 14, 15, I couldn't get a job pretty much anywhere, not even at my local grocery store or anything like that.
Yeah, it's kind of a big
Yeah.
liability.
Yeah.
I was fairly lucky that the place that my dad, because we were all carpenters growing up, my uncles, my dad, everybody. So I think I got pretty lucky that I always kind of came around, picking up paychecks or this and that. So the
Hmm.
owners kind of knew me a little bit, and they were like, okay, we know more or less what he can do. So they hired me on, and that was pretty cool because I was making like, I want to say, like $12 an hour when I was 16,
Oh.
right? This was a while back, so
Yeah, that's pretty.
I was like,
The
damn,
minimum
man.
wage was probably 7.25 or.
Yeah, exactly. I was like
Yeah.
buying Xboxes and this, and I'd give my parents some money too because I was like, maybe I should do something else with it. But
Yeah.
at the same time, I was fairly lucky. I mean, granted, I wasn't nailing stuff and doing all this crazy stuff. It was just like, oh, move this stuff here, clean up around, blah blah blah, things like that. But it was still, I don't know, pretty good experience. Definitely learned a
Yeah.
lot.
Oh yeah. Now I'm curious for you. Like, you're doing the online classes? Or are you actually
Yeah.
like video chatting with your teacher and stuff?
Yeah. Well, we started that 2 days ago, actually, on Monday.
Okay.
And that was a big change to everything because everyone had to get settled in, and we talked to the teachers for a bit. There was 60 people in at one time and one teacher, so it
I
was
can
really
only imagine.
hectic.
Yeah.
But we kind of we learned how to adapt to it, and we got better at it, and we're getting better. Next week's the first like set week of class where we need to get started with work, but yeah, it's weird. It's
Hmm.
definitely different.
As far as the learning curve, like actually picking stuff up, you think is this easier for you? Like, in from your sense, is it easier to learn this way, or is it you think it's better in class?
I think there's a lot of knowledge that we learn in school that's really unnecessary
Mm-hmm.
in some sense. So I think there's a lot of time wasted at school when we should be learning about different things.
Like what?
So well, like just for example, in high school, you don't learn how to like pay a bill. You don't know how to do your taxes. You don't learn stuff like that. But you learn, what the powerhouse of the cell is and everything. And I think there's like a lot of knowledge that at home you'll have a lot more free time, whether people use it to their advantage or not, that you can
Right.
do outside of the online classes. But then again, it's also for kids that like to slack or like goof off.
Mm-hmm.
They'll be playing video games the whole time during the lecture. They won't be paying attention. They'll obtain less knowledge than needed. So I don't know how it's gonna be. It's gonna be 50-50 really rather.
I
Well, that's
guess
a
One or
good
the
point,
other.
though. That's a good point. The fact that some other, it, but it's just going to show you how serious someone is going to take
Yeah.
their life as far as their education goes, and ultimately they'll suffer for it.
so. You're kind of like,
But
sorry, go ahead.
go ahead. No, you go ahead. That's good.
Um, so you're kind of asking, you kind of want to learn more life skills in school, not
Yeah,
not just
I'm
your
curious on that
your
too.
like long divisions. That's probably like
Yeah.
pre-high school. Sorry, but I mean you're not just trying to learn academics, but you're also trying to learn like life skills, and you're like, oh, I'm not really learning this stuff here.
Yeah, that like that's exactly that's where I was getting at, but it's not just like learning life skills, it's like how much time we waste on unnecessary things.
Unnecessary stuff. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, that we don't really need, that some people may not use, and even when you ask teachers if they can put it in a sense where we would use that in real life, and then they can't.
Right.
It's
'Cause
really, it brings like, yeah.
when do you use the what is it, quadratic formula to pay
Yeah,
your
use
bills
the
or something like that?
Right. Yeah.
Which, I mean, it's a stupid analogy, I know, but you're trying to put together where the hell are you going to use this, right?
Exactly. And
Hmm.
it'd be nice if they can at least elaborate on how we would use it. But when they can, it just kind of puts us in a situation where, like, is it even important to listen right now?
Well, maybe
Yeah.
maybe it depends on like what you got in mind for the future, right? So like, what do you have
Yeah.
planned? Like, let's say you graduate high school and maybe you go to college, right? What do you have in mind right now?
Well, I don't know, I have a lot of different scenarios of what I wanted to do. Is that I've always wanted to be an automotive engineer up until like 2 years ago or a year ago. I always wanted to be an automotive engineer, but I've been like leaning towards more like being a firefighter, which that's
That's quite
kind
a
of what
big
I'm
difference.
set on. Yeah,
Yeah.
That's
That's two
because
different industries.
that's a huge gap.
Completely
In,
different.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
know, yeah.
Is there a reason? Like, what changed your mind?
Actually, my girlfriend's dad did. I get to talk to him a lot about what he does, and I just thought it'd be a good job. It'd be helping everyone out, helping a lot of people out,
So maybe,
beneficial,
uh-huh.
pay the
I see
bills,
where
and
you're
yeah.
getting with that. Um, so what if your girlfriend's dad was an automotive engineer? Would that keep you there? Because you have someone to
Uh,
reference off of, right?
depending on how he explained it,
Mm-hmm.
if he gives bad reviews on it, then I might second guess myself on how it's gonna be, and I don't know. I'm also not the strongest in math, so automotive engineer, you need to know a lot of math
I'll tell you right
to
now,
Yeah.
be in that
I'm not
profession.
the biggest math guy, right? And
Yeah.
as an electrician, most people would think, "Holy crap, dude, this guy's got to be pretty good at math, right?" Well, not necessarily. And
Yeah.
there's different kinds of electricians out there, but for what I do, it does require a little bit of math here and there, and I learned all these equations and blah blah blah. And tell me how many times I've actually used some of that stuff. Some of it's more, basic stuff, troubleshooting. If anything that I've learned from my career was learning how to solve a problem is the biggest deal ever.
Yeah.
And that's just in any sense, not necessarily electrical or mechanical or problems on paper, just in general, dealing with people, dealing with things, emotions, and all that kind of stuff. But I'm not saying that automotive engineers aren't doing basic math by no means. There's a lot going there. But I think
Yeah.
with like a lot of this stuff, as I've picked up hobbies, I've learned that if you want to be really good at math, you just put more time into it. It's practice. It's
Yeah.
like most other things.
Right.
It is.
And you'll actually probably find it more satisfying that when you put that extra time and then you go, oh man, I just figured that out. That's dope. You get this extra wind and then you roll with
Right.
it.
You challenged yourself and you succeeded. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not
See,
telling you to
and
abandon the firefighter
no,
dream, but
no, I know what you like are going from, but it's like learning all that math, and I know you don't get anywhere without, working hard. Like you
mhm.
can't just sit there and everything will appear right in your hands and everything. You'll know everything in the world. But I don't enjoy it either. I don't enjoy working on math. I don't enjoy math. So why would I wouldn't really want to do a job that I don't enjoy doing, solving problems, doing equations like that. I know it's not all math,
Mm-hmm.
but just in like it's very what I've heard from other people, it's a big thing in the industry.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's not what I'm too like.
Again,
Of, you know.
I don't know much about automotive engineering, but what I have learned about engineering in general is that there's many branches of a single
Mhm.
branch. So like I'm still leaning towards electrical engineering, right? And it's that's a matter of me putting the time. Not that I don't have time, which I kind of don't have a whole lot of it, but the little bit of time that I do have, I could be putting elsewhere. But the thing is, I asked our electrical engineer from our work, and I go, "Hey, I've been thinking about doing electrical engineering." He goes, "Why?" I was like, "Oh, I don't know. I kind of want to learn some more stuff and move further with my career." He goes, "Well, what kind of electrical engineering?" I go, "I don't know, electrical engineering." And he goes, "Well, there's more than one." And I go, "Explain it." And he goes, I was like, "That's new to me. I didn't realize that." He goes, "Well, you have like automation, you have, power engineering and all this other stuff." And I was like, "Wow, I didn't realize that." Like maybe looking into the automotive engineering thing, and you kind of, if you dig a little deeper, you might find there's a portion of it that may fit better.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
because you could
that's
be
a great point.
suspension, you could be in safety systems. Who knows? You know what I mean?
Right.
Engineering anything. You could be working on an airbag system for a car, or you
You
could be working on crumple zones, or all sorts of things that.
you definitely
Yeah.
don't want to be the test dummy engineer though.
Yeah.
Don't fall for
I don't know,
that
that
one.
looks,
Don't
that
fall
looks
for
like a
that
fun
one.
job. Not
Yeah,
to
that
build out
one.
the test dummy itself,
Oh,
but
okay.
watching the cars wreck would be a great job.
Actually, that'd be pretty dope.
Yeah.
Hurt a
Push the
little, but
button,
that's okay.
send it straight
But
into a wall.
that's dope though. The firefighter thing. I have a lot of respect for those guys. They all the stuff they do and putting their life in danger and stuff. So be careful with that. It's nice that
Yeah.
you have someone to mentor you towards that direction. That's actually really cool. It's actually harder to find than anything.
Yeah, without
So
a doubt.
definitely appreciate that opportunity you have right now.
Oh yeah.
But
That's
Yeah.
right on. Do you have any questions on your end, Jack? I'm just curious as far as like things that we've been out in the world for a little bit, and from your perspective, is there anything you'd like to ask?
Well, yeah. What do you guys do now? So
Ian,
both of you,
So,
like what? what's your
okay.
jobs?
So, I actually work for a can plant. I make food cans. I'm a mechanic,
Okay.
and and I maintain and manage a production line. So, it's it's just a lot of tinkering. I work on various pieces of equipment and run and maintain them.
and then
That's-
I do the same
That's
thing he
actually
does,
interesting.
except I'm not a mechanic. I'm obviously electrician at this point.
Yeah.
But I mean, love what I do. I may have gotten lucky, and it's one of those things where like I don't wake up going, I gotta go to work today. It's one of those like I'm excited. What's gonna happen today, right?
That's always good.
It is good, and it's. I hope someone out there finds it, because you really are on vacation every day if you love what you do,
Mm-hmm.
even in the hard times. But
Yeah, no doubt.
yeah, I do a lot of automation stuff, man. Dealing with line controls and maintenance stuff too as well. Stuff breaks, you replace it. Troubleshooting is huge with what I do. So problem solving and tinkering, man. That's
Yeah, same here.
that's probably why I love what I do, because I love tinkering. I love making things. I love seeing stuff work. The end result, right? That's kind of where it lies.
Okay.
So not
Do you like the
necessarily.
build-up process?
I do. I love that.
That's
Yeah.
Well, there's nothing like getting a problem solved, right?
yeah.
Like,
That's always nice. Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's very satisfying.
yeah, without a doubt. And you get what you put into it. You get back what you put into it.
Absolutely.
And that's
Absolutely.
yeah.
But I mean, yeah, that's dope. As far as so you guys are learning online now.
Yeah.
man, I I don't know. I knew a lot of schools that started going that route prior, where you take your homework with you. I don't know if that was something you guys started doing or not. Where like
Mhm.
kids were getting
I don't think
laptops
so.
and they do homework online and stuff like that. But that's kind of
I don't think that's us. Yeah, no.
no,
We
probably
we
not.
just started this. Yeah, we just very small population school. We
So you
don't have a lot of money either at our schools, so
okay? So is that like you only get one teacher and that's all you do is like
no,
or
actually, so I have 6 different teachers, and it's not like that at all. No, you can't do one teacher, so because each teacher obviously teaches different things. Like I
right?
have an engineering, an auto teacher, English teacher, so they all have separate uh, meetings and voice chat groups.
Okay,
And it's all at different times and everything, but they really haven't like scheduled it where, like, for example, on Monday I had an auto meeting at 2 and I had a math lesson at 2. And they didn't really schedule that like accordingly.
right.
So
So what did you
I
do
was kind of
there?
stuck in a rut. Yeah. But hopefully they're fixing that on Monday. But
Okay,
yeah, it's different teachers. It's complicated right now because it's we just started doing it.
I could
Definitely a
imagine.
new thing. We all have
Yeah,
to adapt to it.
I
But
mean, would you
yeah,
say you're enjoying it though?
so far, yeah, it's not bad. It's obviously nice being at home, not
Hmm.
having
yeah.
to, go to school for 8 hours a day. But it's not the best either. You don't get to see your friends every day. You don't get the like
The high school
Yeah,
visual
experience.
in a way of visual knowledge, like a
Hmm.
visual learning experience, and like you said, you don't get the high school experience, and it sucks. I'm not a senior, but for all the seniors that don't get to walk across the stage, for example,
Oh,
Oh
that
man.
sucks.
that's
And
gotta
all for all
suck.
the sports ending later, like people have scholarships at our school that in softball and track and in baseball, and all of those are getting canceled because of the
Oh
quarantine.
man, yeah, that
Have
sucks.
So
it,
it's like,
I know your school is still figuring this stuff out. Have they said anything about like how they're handling graduation and stuff like that?
I don't, not to my knowledge, no. They
Okay.
haven't discussed it all. I don't know what they're gonna do there, but yeah, no, it sucks.
Damn.
We, yeah, hopefully things will clear up. I mean, it's gonna take a while, but hopefully, I mean, have they already confirmed that you guys are gonna be doing this all year long?
Yeah, for the rest of the year, at least, yeah, school year.
Wow.
Crazy. See, I wasn't sure if that was just certain areas or if that was because I know the Bay Area was doing that. Well, they had talked about that already a while ago. I didn't
Right.
realize it was
Yeah, I
coming over
think
this way.
Governor Newsom announced it, I think on last Friday or Monday or something, that it's schools are expected to go on for online classes for the rest of the year.
You guys have like a video chat recess time or lunch break?
Uh, no, I think it's just like hourly classes. No, no.
To say,
Oh,
all
So,
right, guys, we should all group chat in
so you
for
still have
lunch.
you still go through all your periods, and it's still the same length of time you would typically spend at school, yeah?
no, actually, I think it's shorter now. I think only classes are only going for about an hour.
Okay.
Oh,
Right
man, it's been
on.
a
So the
while. Are they about
Yeah,
how long is
yeah.
class usually?
I forgot how long a
Oh, it's an
period
hour and a
was.
half. So we have a
Oh,
block schedule.
okay.
So we have 4 classes on Tuesday. Okay, so on Monday we have all 7 classes. On Tuesday we have 4 of our classes, all our odd classes. So 1, 3, 5, and 7. And then on even days we have 2, 4, 6, and study hall. And that's how our schedule works. And each class is an hour and a half. And on Mondays each class is 48 minutes, I believe.
Wow. That
True.
sounds confusing as all hell. I'm sure you get used to it, but like, damn.
Yeah.
Right.
No, it's
Yeah.
definitely weird going from like middle school to every class every day to 4 classes one day, 4 classes the next.
Damn.
So, yeah.
Right on.
Have you picked up any new hobbies since then, or you just been playing video games?
I've been helping my dad on the shed, and
Okay.
uh, oh, we're building a shed right now, you know. So I've been helping him with that, and I've been working on my Jeep. Just
Ooh.
Yeah,
trying
cheap
to decide
life.
new things
My guy
on
Ian
what to
here's a
do
Jeep
with it.
guy.
Hmm.
And I like I've gotten the hobby of making things, just anything. That's what I want to try to start doing. So like I'm making
Fabrication.
fenders for my Jeep. Oh, not
Okay.
just fabrication, but with also like wood and everything. I want to make, for some reason, odd reason, I want to make shelves. I just I find I just want to make a shelf. Just
I
see
can
how it
relate to
looks.
that.
It's just
I can
fun.
relate with that. Yeah, I
I
can
think it would
totally
just be
relate.
fun.
I'm the same way. There's so many projects that I would love to get myself
Mm-hmm.
into, but I can totally relate to that. It doesn't matter what it is.
I think we may have
And
gotten like a
Yeah.
special case where like we found the one kid who isn't like all the other kids. What the hell?
Yeah, no, that's pretty dope.
That's good though. That's
and
good though.
and relating to airsoft, because I used to play airsoft a lot.
Oh yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't a lot anymore. But I always wanted to uh, do. I wanted to paint slides and paint different guns. I, but I never really had the equipment to do it. I never really had the time, and I never really had like what's the drive for it. I
Okay.
didn't have the drive to get up and go get different paints and test and everything. I don't know. It
It's
was
it,
just like an idea in my mind.
it's just time consuming. You think about it, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh man, I don't know if I really want to get
Yeah.
that far into
Yeah,
it.
if it's already draining just thinking about it, I wouldn't recommend pulling the trigger on it.
You know,
Mhm.
sometimes you
That's
just
Yeah.
gotta go for it, dude.
yeah.
Well, yeah, yeah. But if you're passionate about it,
Yeah.
I think if it's something you really see yourself doing,
I mean, once you,
hell yeah.
I don't know. When I sometimes I find myself in that rut, right? And I'm like, oh man, I know I should get this done, but man, that sounds like a lot of work, right? And I'll sit
Yeah.
there, and then there's days you procrastinate, and you're like, oh man, I should have got that done. But then I find myself in that rut again, and I go, you know what? Just get up and do it, dude. You get up and do it
Yeah.
Yeah.
now, and then once you get rolling, dude, it's like clockwork. You're just in it, and you're like, oh man, I'm glad I went into this.
I think I'm getting better at that. Not being as I don't procrastinate as much anymore.
Hmm.
I used to do that all the time. I would hate it. Like I'll put it off till the last minute. Even with schoolwork, for a freshman year, I could do it at the last minute. I'll get it done eventually. Because I was a big gamer. I don't game as much anymore. It's like my fourth time getting on past 3 weeks.
That's not a bad
But
thing. That's pretty. I mean, that's good. You know.
but like
Yeah, no doubt.
used to be 8 hours a day. I just would grind video games, which was not healthy at all. It was not good for my schoolwork. But I've gotten to like be more responsible. Like
That's part of
I
growing
think
up.
a big part of it was getting a job. Like that was my biggest thing. Like I got a job. I was like, okay, I'm growing up. I need to start really value my time and be more responsible. So that's kind of what like saved me in a sense.
That's good. That's awesome, dude. That's a good
That
head
is
on your
really
shoulders right
awesome.
there, dude. I hope you
Yeah.
keep that route. You know, because that's really hard to find, dude. And a lot of times, it's sad to say, like before, when I was, I turned 18 or so, and you start looking for work and things like that, and employers back then were looking for, well, what kind of experience, what do you know, what are your strong suits, right, kind of thing, right? And
Hmm.
now it seems like they're just trying to hire people as long as they show up for work. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's it?
It's
It's yeah.
bodies.
Like,
Like
dude, what the hell? It's like it's gone. So it's nice to see that, at least somebody who's at least on the right path. That's good to know, dude. And it's actually a good, I don't know, what do you call it, like value?
It's a breath of fresh air.
It
I
is,
think it's a
too,
breath of
yeah.
fresh air,
You're
honestly.
right.
Because I mean, how many people have we lost from our job because that literally just boy had. I think we know we had one that walked out just because they didn't realize that a manufacturing plant there was going to be general labor involved.
Oh, man.
That
was
was kind of like,
Bullet dodged.
yeah, crazy.
Bullet dodge for everybody.
You know,
Yeah.
yeah, some people.
yeah, no, like at my job, they hire pretty much anyone. Like I know I was 15 at the time when I got the job, 2 months from being 16. Um, but I walked in with, the application, everything, what we had to fill out, and then I came in with my own resume, and I tried to do things even though I didn't have a job. Like I brought up that I played soccer. Um, I like to do, extracurricular activities and everything. And all I know is I was the only like 16-year-old, 17-year-old that did that. Everyone else just filled in their application and they got the
Just
job like that. And I just
hmm
I thought it would be a little bit more difficult, honestly, because I know my job. They just hire people. They it sounds looking good in the eye. Which is good. Posture and good sense of attitude towards things. You gotta
right.
have good manners. But they just talk to them, see how they do, and it's I don't know. I feel like a lot of the time I don't get a lot of hours because of some of the people that are hired. Because I would love more hours. Like I would love 20 hours a week, 30 hours a week, even with school. I'll work after
Yeah.
school till closing every day if I had to. I
Yeah.
wouldn't mind that. And that's
See,
money I
I
need.
did that.
I just want
I
money.
can I feel that just because I did
Yeah.
it. And then I still tried to make time to see friends
Yeah.
and yeah, dude, busyness. But I'm gonna tell you right now is it keeps you out of trouble.
Oh yeah, it
Mhm.
does.
It'll keep you out of trouble.
But
I
like I
mean,
said,
don't get me
you
wrong.
yeah.
Sometimes if you're working enough and you put enough coin in your pocket and you make some purchases, you can get yourself into some trouble. Don't trust me, you can always get yourself into some trouble. But I find that when you're that busy, dude, it's really hard to want to get
Right.
into trouble.
But
Yeah.
again, you also get a different mindset too. You get in that mindset of like, man, I gotta go to work. You do stuff, like you said. You stay
Right.
busy, and it keeps you out of trouble.
But at the same time, too, man, you're young
Enjoy
and
it.
live a little.
Yeah,
Exactly,
Yeah.
because it doesn't
yeah.
come around, bro. You can work you're gonna work the whole rest of your life, brother. And I pray that you find something that you honestly enjoy, and that way it doesn't feel nearly anything like work.
Thank
You
you.
know? Yeah.
Yeah,
hmm
I'm doing that though. I'm still being a kid. I'm still doing a lot of things kids would do. I would always like more money. Just like everyone else, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, of
Oh
course.
yeah,
Everyone
Everyone.
that's
would like
always
some
good.
more money.
That's always good, man. That's how you buy your stuff.
Right.
Exactly. Especially when you have expensive hobbies.
But learn how to manage that though, because
Yeah.
that's where you get in trouble. See, some people want more money and more money, but do they necessarily need it?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know? Well, of course. Don't get me wrong,
uh,
Yeah,
you know,
but right
saying,
on.
you're talking about playing airsoft. Did you learn anything from that? Did you get anything out of airsoft
I I enjoyed it. I got
other than
well,
maybe?
are you talking about like life lessons or
Yeah,
like
yeah. I'm
lessons?
curious. Like, from a younger perspective, did you get any life lessons or anything from airsoft? I'm a little curious.
I learned that you can't be too confident. You can't you can't act like you know everything about airsoft because there's always that one person that will know way more than you. So you don't want to be too cocky. You don't want to be confident, and you got to work as a team in some sense. So sometimes you got to listen to what other people do. You got to be a good. You got to listen to other people.
You got to take
So
lead, bro. What are you
and
Yeah,
talking
be a
about?
yeah.
team
Well,
player.
no, 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 no.
Yeah.
Some, at 12 years old, first playing airsoft with a $100 Walmart gun, I'm gonna listen to the guy that has, all the speed soft load out with an HPA tank on the back.
Oh
I gotta
man,
listen to him
what if he
because
leads
I'm
you
not
into
gonna get bull.
into nothing, bro? What if he leads you the wrong way just because he's got all the
He
fancy
does.
gear? You know?
He does do that sometimes, but I learned from that. I learned not to
Okay.
listen to that guy again.
Oh shit. That one thing I did pick up was learning how to work around people. Like, this was my biggest thing. I used to play a lot by myself, right, when I first started, and I started getting good at it. For the sense of playing airsoft, I was getting good at it.
Yeah.
And my biggest thing was, how do you work as a team with a bunch of people you don't know? Right? Like, you get into a group of people and nobody
Oh.
knows each other. Everyone's there for themselves, right? And it was interesting, showing confidence, right? Once you get you get the gist of how everything's working, and you get the basic concepts of, cover and all this and that, right? And showing it, and when people are out there, you're looking for something that's moving, right? You're not even thinking about your buddy next to you anymore. And it's as funny as it sounds. And I realized, like, I started, seeing the situation and going, man, I gotta take charge of this shit, man. This shit's fucking everywhere. So you look at this guy do a weird fucking crazy call, right? Like we got these calls at work because it's super loud in there. And I go, I don't know, what is it, Ian? You fucking just yell out like this weird fucking...
Oh, yeah, I gotta be careful with, I probably shouldn't do that on the podcast.
I know, it's loud. It's a loud yell, but it's not like a yell.
Yeah.
It's like a cat call almost, right?
It's like a whoo.
Yeah.
Like a whoo. So, dude,
Yeah.
everybody started knowing who I was because I started going whoo. And when people look, and so I'm like, whoo, over there, boom, whoo, hey, you come over here, and you start doing this shit, and all of a sudden people start working together. I was like, damn, that worked. That's dope. And you get shit done, right? But it was trying to figure out, like, I know what I can do, and I can see what people are doing. How do you get everybody to work together in an environment where nobody's working together? You got the same objective, but everyone's in it for themselves at that point, right? Unless you're with your boys. And when you're with your boys, you're running around together. But when you're by yourself,
Dude, that's how I was. I was always with one friend. I rarely had big parties of people, so I would always just go with my one friend, and we'd go to the same place, and we try to go where everyone else isn't, so we would flank around everyone.
right?
So, and then in some ways, obviously, we would go playing at CQB to the kill house and try to get as many kills and try to get around the other side to get to the two-story building. People
Oh,
even
you're
know what I'm
talking my
about.
field. Oh yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what though, I did meet a lot of cool people doing that.
I did too. A lot of a lot of cool people, a lot of interesting people, and it's fun because everyone goes out there to play.
Right.
It's not to talk shit. It's not to be dicks. They go out there to play.
Once you start
Go out
taking
there
it
to have fun.
serious, you kind of lost it.
Yeah.
You got to
Yeah.
remember what you're there for. It's a game. You're there to enjoy it. Everybody's a nerd. Everybody's LARPing.
Yeah. Yeah. See, I can't relate on the airsoft thing, but I did paintball back when. Did a lot of speedball. So I can relate as far as
Right. Even
as far as
that,
trying
dude.
to direct people you don't know, because like if you want to get out and practice, right? So generally it was me and one other buddy. We didn't have the full team with us at all times, and I think it's funny how that dynamic works. Because honestly, as long as if you take charge, and it works out, it has to work out that first time, or else the second time no one really wants to listen to you, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, wait, that guy fucked us. Let's not listen to him anymore.
That's like
Yeah,
the
forget
HPA
that.
guy.
The HVA guy. Oh yeah, I'm not following that guy again. That guy fucked me.
Yeah. You learn the lesson, right? You're like, and that's another thing too, is the gear doesn't make the man, so or the woman, either way.
Right.
That's a good point.
Oh yeah, definitely, dude. You learn that real quick. You look up to these guys. You get there and they're straight commandoed out. I'm like, holy shit, dude. That guy knows his shit.
He's
They
scary.
look great, right?
He's scary.
They
Right, it
look
looks great. And then you get out there and it's
Yeah.
like, what the hell?
Yeah.
What are you doing back here?
Why you? I'm fixing my gun.
Sorry, my Gucci gear fell off.
Gucci.
Oh fuck, dude.
Oh god.
I was a gear whore, dude, and I still am. I love it. I don't care.
Well,
Mostly just because it works.
I bought a few things.
Yeah. It's funny because I stopped playing because I work too much, and I had just bought this dope ass chest rig. I bought one of those Spiritus systems, and as soon as I bought it and I got it in that week, they're like, "Hey, we're working the weekends now." I go, "Oh, how long?" And they said, "Forever." Well, they didn't say forever, but I was
But
like,
it might
oh,
as
okay.
well.
Yeah,
as well.
they might-
Yeah.
So I was like,
It feels that
oh,
way.
well, let me just go hang this up in the closet. I guess I'll never use this. And so I ended up using a lot of my tactical shit for work, finding that it's actually quite convenient.
Oh,
So
so
kind
you
of
used your resources to your advantage.
absolutely, you got to adapt, my
Alright.
guy. Not
Yeah.
only that, I paid good money for it, so I gotta fucking use it somewhere.
Use it somehow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
fuck.
without a doubt.
That's just one of
Wish
those
I could say
things.
the same.
You know, you just gotta get crafty with what you got. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. You learn from it.
Oh man.
Shit, man.
So what are your guys' big hobbies? Like what do you guys love to do more than anything?
Right now, or ask
Oh.
me like every 6 months?
Yeah, that's
Uh,
basically that's how
okay.
I am.
We'll go right now.
Okay, right
You
now.
make the best of.
Ian, go ahead. What do you got right now? What do you got? I kind of have an idea.
So, actually, this has really grown on me a lot. I like doing the podcast. Honestly, I like doing this. I've been lately. I mean, I have my Harley. I like to ride my bike. Don't get me wrong, but
I don't
I've
see that
always.
as a hobby though. That's like
I know that's a
living.
lifestyle, right?
Yeah, that's
That is living.
That's for another
But
story.
so I want to get into sim racing. Is what I'd like to do. I want to race, virtually.
my guy
Simulation
wants to go fast.
races and stuff. I love going fast, and I just unfortunately I don't have the budget to go fast on really nice tracks with very. So the closest thing is to simulate it. At the moment, it's just because everyone's stuck inside,
Yeah.
and so it's something I could do it at home. But if I had it my way, I would just be out drifting and driving around.
That's that sounds like a fun hobby though. Sounds
Yeah.
like something
Taking
I would
pictures
definitely
too.
want to do.
I love taking pictures too. I needed to work. We talked about that earlier, but
Oh,
I need to
yeah.
get the camera out a bit more.
Yeah, photography for sure, man. That's always so
Mhm.
much fun. I get too deep with it. Sometimes I try to catch these little moments, and I don't do it on purpose. But when you catch them, you start editing these photos, man, and you're like, "Damn, what's that guy thinking?" You know, like that
Mhm.
at that exact moment, what was he thinking? Was he thinking about a cheeseburger or life? You know.
Or live, right?
But I've seen some of those videos you sent me of the guys who are sim racing and they got the screen setups, and dude, it's fucking intense. I'll tell you that right now.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Oh,
I know
yeah.
it's not real, but it looks intense as fuck.
Yeah, it's pretty damn close. It's getting even closer. A lot of it's almost as spot on as driving the car without the G-force. So
Dude, if it was up to me, I'd pick up as many hobbies as I could, but I
yeah.
pick my hobbies very carefully based off of work. Because I work all the time. My guy Ian works all the time too. But mine has to work with my schedule, right? Which sucks because I could learn
Yeah.
a whole lot of cool shit. But I don't know. For now, I've been doing a lot of that flight sim stuff. That stuff's pretty dope. I'm actually enjoying it because it's got a huge learning curve. It's, I jumped into it thinking I'm going to be the next Ace Combat pilot, fucking Captain Sparky. And I'm going, holy shit, dude. You mean I actually have to learn how radar works? Like, I actually have to learn, elevation and, drag and this and that. I'm like, I'm about it. That's cool. I'll put some time into that. But again, I grew up, loving aviation. So that kind of worked out. It was one of those things like when you're younger, you don't have the money because your money's based off of whatever your parents get you, right? So, you never really got into the whole flight sim stuff. Now that, you can more or less afford it occasionally, it's definitely fun. But other than that, dude, I always sketch. I'm always sketching something, so drawing. That's for now. I'll leave that for now. You ask me in like 6 months, maybe a year. It'll probably change up a little bit.
You have sketches on your Instagram, right?
Yeah, I got
thought
some
I-
stuff up
I
there.
thought I saw a few. Yeah. I've seen that before.
Actually, lately, I don't know what it is, but I got this huge, huge, huge love for sketching on whiteboards
Oh.
because it's like it's not permanent.
Yeah.
There's something about it, like it's not going to be there long, and it'll either degrade with time or someone will move it or erase it. It's kind of like, yeah, I'm going to appreciate that shit for a little bit, and then when it's gone, all right, I'll draw something else. Which is weird
The simple
because
things.
anytime I try to sketch in my like actual black book, like my little sketchbook or whatever, it never comes out as good as when I do it on a whiteboard.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Or if I'm doodling on like random sheets of paper, it always comes out really nice, and I'm like, what the fuck? And I find myself cutting it out and slapping it in the book.
I wish I could say I could draw, but I can't. I can't write. My handwriting is atrocious.
Then type.
The worst. That's what I do. Online classes are saving me right now.
Hell yeah.
Right on.
But yeah, I can't draw. I wish I could, because the drawing just seems like so much fun. And I'm sure if I really put my mind in it, but it's like one of those things that like I don't think I could really put my mind in for hours at a time.
You gotta, like you said, you gotta kind of have a drive for it. Or some kind of, like, usually, you know what it is with me? This is actually how my hobbies start, is that I need something, right? And I go try to get it. And I realize,
right.
Why is it so expensive? I can make that. And I do. Or I'll try, and then I realize all the time that goes into it. I'm like, that's why it's so expensive. But but it's nice because that's kind of how I learn some of the extra little skills I pick up from seeing something you want and going, can I make that? Yeah, there's some things you just can't get away with it. But you go, what if I try to make that? What does it take to make that? And you start looking at it and kind of, materials, techniques, do you need special tools, kind of things like that.
Right, you learn a new craft.
Yeah. So maybe
therefore you appreciate it a bit more, or at least when you see other things that are made, man, you start thinking. I know I do that a lot.
Oh yeah.
I'll see the things that I would normally do myself, but I can look at something and appreciate the time and effort and whatever training that person's put themselves through just to make something that they have.
Maybe that's a good way to do it. Maybe you find something you want, Jack, and then kind of go, well, how the hell would I make that thing?
I think that's what I'm doing right now. Is I need to, since quarantine, I need to start doing this. I need to make a Jeep rack for my Jeep, because I'm putting a 10 on it.
Oh,
putting the 10 on top of it.
That's what I was into. If I had the stuff when I was younger, dude, that's exactly what we did. I know we made shackles. We'd make shackles in metal shop and bumpers. It's a lot of fun to just design your own thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because the Jeep community, it's really cookie cutter. There's only so many brands of this, or so many brands of that, and until you make something or fab something yourself, it gives it more personality, right?
It does, especially like out on the trails when you're rock crawling and everything. It's like it's fun to tell other people your experiences of your Jeep that you are building. It's not saying, I bought it off. Like, don't get me wrong, buying stuff there's nothing wrong with that. Some people don't have the time
or the skill.
And the skill,
right?
Or the resources. They don't. But like,
right.
It's so nice saying that I built that on my Jeep. That's what I built.
Yeah.
It's just having that sense.
That's kind of nice, because it's nice to see that in somebody, because you remember the old, like, oh, my grandpa built this house,
right?
With his bare hands, kind of thing. Like, that's kind of where it goes back to, like, having that pride in, I did that and it's not broken, it's still working. Hell yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Testament of time and effort.
See, that's my dad was a construction worker for 15 years. And every time we go to Sacramento or Folsom or anything like that, he's always like, see that building right there? Like, what about it? I built that. I helped build that. And it's fun because he takes pride in like these things, which is cool. Like I would too.
When I was 16, I was working construction and stuff. It's funny, every time I pass by and I go to the Bay Area, there's this big apartment building out in Dublin. I want to say it's Dublin. And every time I pass by it, I go, I was there. Like, I know the ins and outs of that place, and I know exactly what every room looks like, the cabinets that are in there, all that shit, dude. And it's dope. It's a dope ass feeling. That's really nice.
It is nice.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
But, so you're out there rock crawling, huh?
Yeah. We go up to Slick Rock and up near the Rubicon.
Yeah, that's Placerville.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that something you got into because of your dad, or
Yeah, because of my dad. So, no, yeah, my dad and my dad got it from my grandpa, and it's been passed on like that. So
That's
it's
awesome.
just kind of like a family thing that we all
It's
do.
pretty
My
awesome.
grandpa, little, he doesn't have a Jeep anymore, so he can't do that. But my dad, big Jeep collector, he has a '53 Willys and 2008 Rubicon now. And
Damn.
yeah, we just love doing it.
That's awesome, dude. That's actually
Yeah,
really
that's a
nice.
lot of fun. Oh, you make me miss my Jeep.
I know. I got to
What'd
ride
you
it a couple
have?
times.
I had a '98 TJ.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it's fun until the death wobble happens.
yeah, well, you know, my,
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
those of you who
yeah,
don't
it's
know
like,
about the death
oh,
wobble, I don't know if you've seen it. I've seen it a few times driving around. The death. I don't know, Ian. You want to explain this a little better? You probably got more experience with that.
So a death wobble is basically your tires harmonizing with wear and tear on some of your steering parts, generally either ball joints, bushings, or there's a whole myriad of things that can cause this what they call the death wobble. And what it is your tires, your front steering tires will shake violently like a speed wobble, like if you were on a skateboard or I know some people have probably seen it on motorcycles too. But generally, and it always happens at some type of high rate of speed, usually freeway speeds.
Oh yeah.
Uh, and once it starts, there's really no getting out of it, and unless you have something that's super powerful and you're able to take a lot of weight off the front end, you either
yeah.
have to gun it or you have to come to a complete stop. Um,
You know, it's weird
hardly
because I've seen it on the back end. I don't know if that's normal or not.
on the rear end.
Yeah.
And that's possible too, because you have bushings back there. There's things like that, but it's more common. They call it the wobble of death mostly because it's affecting your steering, right?
Right.
That's
Maybe it was
it,
the front.
but it's definitely possible in the rear end as well, especially on a four-wheel drive. If you have, I know I've had I had to replace my U joint on my rear end, and I can't remember what I did wrong, but I started getting some really crazy drivetrain vibration in the rear, and the rear wanted to dance around pretty bad too. But
If I were to
yeah,
explain what I seen, it's pretty much both your front tires shaking violently back and forth while still going
yeah,
forward. I
yeah.
I thought that lady's tires were about to fly the f off, dude.
Oh, they could.
I was like,
Over time,
"Oh
it
man,
could
I'm
wear
backing
off.
up. I'm backing
I
up."
actually have a small video on my Instagram you can watch of just my steering wheel. I didn't have it terrible on mine, but yeah, every once in a while it would act up on me.
Yeah, my steering box is just atrocious. So half the time with, I widen my axles and everything,
Oh yeah, so
and
you've gone
so I have 37s
and
on it, so it just like my steering box is so shit that it'll go one way and then it'll go the other, and half the time like it's a manual, so I can't really
right.
keep both hands on the steering wheel at all times. So it's like hard to control it sometimes, going all over I'm staying in my 12 feet of lane, but it isn't looking too pretty while I'm doing it.
Oof.
Yeah. Well, that's the fun part of it though.
Yeah,
That's part of the experience, you know what I mean? You dodge death on multiple occasions. That's what the Jeep culture is all about.
exactly.
You do- Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
man. Well, Jack, it seems like this was actually quite an interesting conversation. Being able to
It
get your
was.
perspective on, especially I was kind of curious about the whole high school thing and how you guys are handling that. But dude, you got a good head on your shoulders, man. I'm glad you came on today.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, no, I'm glad you guys, had me come in and join.
Hell yeah, definitely some good family values, dude. I hope you keep doing the rock climbing stuff with your dad and your grandpa if you can still, and pass it on to your kids when the time comes. Hopefully not anytime soon. Keep it in your pants.
Yeah. Will do. I'll work
But
on it.
thanks for joining us, dude. Hell yeah.
Yeah, thank
Yeah,
you.
most definitely.
So thanks everybody for joining us in for episode 4 of the podcast. Which you know what, I gotta also thank you, Jack, because we weren't sure if we were gonna continue on, and you gave me the speech 16-year-old giving me the speech.
Beautiful speech.
The beautiful speech with a man voice. He's like, no, you need to do it, bro. I was like, all right, well, you're coming with me. So thank you again. And thanks for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. This is Hot and Sparky Live, and my co-host Ian and Jack. Take it easy, guys.